Man. Praise the Lord. Hey, what's going on, brothers? What is going on? It is your dude, IP, Mr. International Passport, here again for a future classic live stream. First and foremost, though, brothers, press A1 in the live stream chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Mayday, Mayday, check 1 2, check 1 2. Who is here? Who's there? Sam. Is my audio good, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Brothers in the chat. Mortimer, thanks for confirming, brother. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Tyron, appreciate you, brother. Awesome. So let's get straight into it. Okay. The brothers, special announcements first, right? So we creep closer to the Black Bedford conference. Okay. So please make sure you get your tickets. Go meet Theo and IT Bros Connect. I'll be in Miami next month. Okay, and go out there and network. Okay. I'll be teaching Python as well alongside Theo's AWS class, and there'll be details of that in the description box below and in the comment section, okay? In the comment section, sorry, only. So now let's get straight into it, okay? As you can see tonight, we shall be talking about Denmark, Copenhagen specifically. And I've got a very special guest here with me called Mr. Sam. Sam, how you doing, bro? You good?
I'm good, IP. How are you?
I'm doing all right, brother. I'm doing all right. Good to see the speech here again, brother. We always have classic streams when you're on the channel, brother. Okay. So Sam, give us a brief intro as to who you are, where you're from, and anything interesting about you, bro.
Sure. What's up, everybody? My name's Sam. I'm from the United States, from the Boston area originally. Uh, Work in film and entertainment and television, and just a guy who likes to travel and likes to see different places, learn about different cultures, and experience new things. And that's about it for me, really. I've done several streams with IP. So this one's probably maybe number 6, number 7. You know, we've talked about a bunch of different places. We talked about Portugal, we talked about Norway, we talked about Sweden, talked about Iceland, talked about the Dominican Republic. So yeah, now we're going to talk about Denmark tonight. So just another one for the classics. Yeah.
Can't wait, brother. Can't wait. So, Mr. Sam, brothers, before you go any further, so there is Patreon content for Danish women on the Patreon that I did with a different brother some time ago. If you want to hear how freaky Danish women are in the bedroom, go on the Patreon, okay? So, Sam, okay, you were in Copenhagen, Denmark recently, brother, right? And my first question to you is, bro, is why Copenhagen out of all cities in the world, brother? What drew you there in the first place?
Yeah, so Scandinavia, I guess you could say I have a bit of a soft spot for based on my previous experiences there. Yeah, so I've been to Sweden last year. I was in Norway. I was in Iceland the year prior to last year. So I figured, well, why not knock off one more Scandinavian Nordic country out of the list? And Denmark was one of those countries. So I figured, well, might as well just hit it up and see how it is there. And I definitely had a really good time, and I would strongly recommend any brothers who are interested should definitely check it out. It's definitely a fun city for sure. Copenhagen, yeah.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, brother, now just to break down formalities, brother, in regards to Copenhagen, right? So, accommodation wise, where did you stay? Was it hotel? Was it Airbnb? Breaking out for me, bro.
I stayed at Airbnb. The Airbnb was in a neighborhood called Nordhavn. So Nordhavn is a pretty affluent neighborhood in Copenhagen. It's right by the water too, which is nice. So it's right near where the lakes are. So I would literally open my Airbnb window and I'd look out and I'd see like Danish girls like swimming and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is not a bad area. So yeah, very affluent area, Nordhavn, very nice Airbnb. Definitely was a good location. And also, if I wanted to get to the city center where like the bars were or where restaurants or some other stores were, I just hopped on the metro. The metro was really easy to navigate. You can buy tickets at the metro to get on the trains, or you can use an app called DOT to buy like train tickets to get on the train. Really easy to navigate and figure out. So, yeah, it was a good area, very good location. But you can also do hotels too. If you want to be closer to like the city center, you could definitely book a hotel like in the downtown area of Copenhagen. They call it Raghusplatten. That's the city center, what you would call it, where a lot of bars are and a lot of like, shops like for like tourists and souvenirs and stuff like that. There's a few museums also in the downtown area too. So yeah, there's a bunch of different neighborhoods. Even though Copenhagen, it's a pretty small city, but there's a couple different good neighborhoods you could stay in. Like you could stay in Fridsberg, where like the very affluent, the rich old money Danes live, or you could stay in Orient Cottage, which is really good. Nordhavn. Yeah, there's a lot of good neighborhoods in Copenhagen. Denmark in
How
general is a very rich country, so yeah,
mm,
Copenhagen is expensive, but it's also very safe too. So what you find is many countries that are on the richer side tend to be on the safer side too, which is convenient.
how do you spell Nordhavn, brother?
So you spell it Nordhaven, Nordhaven. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. And brother, how much was your Airbnb every day? How much did that cost you?
Each day I don't recall, but in total it was about 1,700. And
1700,
yeah, this was about 10 days. Yeah.
brother. 17. So that's $1,700.
For 10 days. Yeah.
That's okay. And brother, do you think that that Airbnb was worth that? Kind of amount of cash, brother.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Cause it was in a good, nice area. And then also, like, if you tell like other Danes that you're staying there, then I mean, obviously they'll be like, okay, well, you must be doing pretty well because that is not a cheap neighborhood even for local Danes to live in. It's one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city. And also, they're building and expanding Nordhaven and building more apartment buildings and condos there. So more people are attracted to living in that area. And also, it's by the water too. And they're also building a lot of nice new restaurants near there as well. So it's an up and coming neighborhood. Yeah, very respected neighborhood in Copenhagen. So if you're staying in Nordhaven, Danes will be like, all right, yeah, you clearly must be doing well because that's not a cheap neighborhood for us Danes to live in. So if you're visiting and you're staying there, then you must be doing all right.
So, brother, now during your time there in Copenhagen, right? Who runs the country, brother? Is it the white ethnic Danish people, or is it other groups of people? Who's empowered there, brother, in that country?
The white ethnic Danish people.
Mm, interesting. Okay. And brother, is it men that run the country, or is it women? 'Cause I know it's a very feminist country. Who's in control when it comes to gender, brother?
Both. They got a female prime minister, man. So I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, it's both because if you look at like their government and the way their politicians hold certain positions, you have a female prime minister. You get mixed reviews about her from local Danes that you talk to, and then below her you have like the rest of the cabinet ministers. Because what they have is what you would call a constitutional monarchy, very similar to what you have in the UK. Whereas you have a parliament, you have a prime minister, but you also have a king, but the king doesn't really have any power. He's just kind of there. So in Denmark, you have the same thing. You have a prime minister, then you have the cabinet beneath the prime minister, and then you have a king and the royal family, but they don't do anything. They're just there. But they live in a very beautiful palace. I was able to see the outside of it. You can't go inside, but you can definitely visit the outside. It's a very beautiful place.
Wow, awesome. So going on from there, brother, right? Now you're a Western black man, right? How were you treated there by Danish people as a Western black man in Copenhagen, bro?
I was treated very well. I have no complaints. I never encountered any forms of racism or any discrimination from what I can recall. These people are extremely polite. They're very respectful. They speak English very well. I feel like they speak English better than some folks do here in America. because I feel like sometimes if I go to certain parts of the country, I feel like people who are born here don't really speak proper English. So it's funny to go to Denmark and everyone speaks perfect English, and some of them actually speak English better than folks here back home, which doesn't make me feel good because I'm like, wow, like, why is it that these people in Denmark speak better English than people here? Something's not right.
Wow. So, Baba, the respect was given to you as a black person. They respected you. There was no looking down on you at all.
No, I never felt that. I felt like I was well respected. Yeah, I got a lot of love. Yeah. I mean, you know, the local Danish girls were very friendly to me.
And we'll get to it in a minute, brother. Dating women. Brother, so now as a passport bro, for me, it's more than just women now, right? It's more about freedom, prosperity, building wealth, traveling too, but also, building wealth and business, right? In your time there, brother, were there any sort of investment opportunities or business opportunities in Copenhagen, Denmark?
I feel like Copenhagen, especially Denmark, is on the up and up, and you have a lot of folks from places like Norway, because Norway is probably the most expensive Scandinavian country. A lot of these Norwegians, they either go to Sweden or they go to Denmark to like do business or to like buy like alcohol, and then they'll like go back to Norway, back where everything's expensive. So I would say if you're a brother who's in like the tech industry, or you do like computer science or things of that nature, then yeah, there will definitely be opportunities for you in Copenhagen. But as far as other investments, I'm not 100% aware of. I couldn't really tell you, to be honest.
Okay, awesome, bro. Fair enough. Now, going on from there, brother, right? I want to ask you in regards to, let's see over here. So, brother, now tell me about Danish people, right? From your personal experience, how are Danish people like, brother? Are they introverts? Are they extroverts? Are they kind people? Are they mean people? What's the overall impression of Danish people, bro?
Danish people are very introverted. All Scandinavians, you know, whether you're dealing with Finnish people, Swedish people, Norwegian people, Icelandic people, Danish people, the culture is very similar. Scandinavian Nordic countries, they share some commonalities. And you find one of those commonalities is that they're very introverted during the day. They don't approach each other during the day. They keep to themselves. They're almost like they're in their own lane, in their own bubble. But when they're drinking at night and it's like a bar or a club, all that kind of goes away. And then you realize that they're more open. But I think they use the alcohol as a means to escape. But they drink a lot. I would say out of all the Scandinavians that I've dealt with, Danes probably drink the most. And in fact, there was a nice Swedish girl that I encountered last year when I went to Sweden who warned me that Danish people tend to be the most rowdy when drunk out of all the other Scandinavian Nordic countries. So, like, you know, Swedes, they drink a lot, they go crazy. Norwegians, they drink a lot, they go crazy. Icelanders definitely go crazy. I haven't really met any Finnish people, so I can't really speak on Finnish people, but they go pretty hard from what I've heard. But Danish people definitely go way above and beyond when it comes to drinking. But during the daytime, they keep to themselves. They're polite. They're respectful. They won't bother you. They won't, you know, get in your face. You know, you're most likely not gonna run into a Karen who gives you a hard time, like when you're going out for groceries, or if you're going out to get a cup of coffee or a cappuccino or a nice European cappuccino. Yeah, no one's gonna really bother you. They're very polite. They're very courteous. They're very respectful. And if you're a visitor or a tourist, you should probably behave in kind and give them the same respect.
Brother, is what's it called? Is Denmark, so brother, on average, right, are Danish people quite tall, the women and the men?
Yeah, they're very tall. Yeah. All these Scandinavians, I think because of their Viking genes, because they are the descendants of the Vikings, let's not forget, you know what I'm saying? They definitely inherited that height advantage. Height is might, especially in that region of Europe for sure. Yeah, you'll meet girls and also men who are very tall. And then you'll meet some people who are average height and below height too. But yes, some of them are very tall. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But you kind of get used to it after a while because it's like, okay, Scandinavians, Viking genes, obviously they're going to be tall. So at some point you'll get so used to it, it won't surprise you. But yes, some of them are very tall. Yeah.
Awesome. But wait, is that the majority that are tall?
Say again? Sorry.
Is that the majority that are quite tall? The majority.
I would say a high percentage of them are quite tall. I wouldn't say it's the overall majority because I met some folks that were like close to my height. Like I'm 5'10", so I've met a lot of folks that were average height too. But there you will meet some giants out there for sure. Yeah. But you'll even meet some people who are below average height too. So yeah, it varies. Because I remember when I went to the gym every day I was there. There's this nice Scandinavian gym called Sats. It's a Scandinavian gym chain that you find in all the Nordic countries. I found one in Norway. I found one in Sweden too. And there's a Sats gym in Copenhagen. And like every day I was there, there were some giants walking in and out of that place. I kid you not. And I was just like, dang, but there was some baddies walking in and out of that place too. It's like, man, I'm trying to work out and get this fitness in, because it's unacceptable to be fat as a brother. And I'm having a hard time focusing because, all these Danish baddies just zoom, 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 walking in and out, like a modeling runway. Yeah.
Damn. Wow. Interesting. So, brother, now in Copenhagen, Denmark, right? How do you meet people and make friends there?
You got to go out to the nightlife. Even if you're a brother who doesn't drink, like you can like just go out to the bars, get like a non-alcoholic beverage if you don't drink, but just try to socialize there because these Danes, this is the only way they really like get to know people is going out. And I think the reason why they drink so much is because they want to have those social interactions, but during the day they just can't do it because that's not who they are as a people. I mean, they're very close, tight knit in their own circles. So basically, what you have is these Danes will make friends from primary school onward and keep those friends. And oftentimes, it's very difficult for Danes to make friends with other Danes who are not in their circle. So it can be a bit cliquish too. But me, as a tourist, I guess I get lucky because I don't live there. I'm from another place. They're naturally curious because I'm not from there. And I'm a different skin color because the average Dane is ethnically white, right? So that would give you, if you're a brother going there, an advantage as well because they'll be curious to get to know you. Yeah, they like foreigners in general. There is prejudice towards the Muslim population there, I would say, especially the folks from the Middle East. But I think you, as a brother, you go there, you go out in the nightlife, you make yourself known, bars, clubs. Even if you don't drink, just get non-alcoholic beverage. I think you'll be all right.
Okay, so all the action of meeting people happens in the nightlife, going to bars, going to clubs, basically being the nightlife and going out. That's what the main action is. Daytime people are quiet to themselves. Nightlife is where you meet people.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I mean, you can also use like dating apps to meet people, obviously. I mean, I use Tinder, I use Instagram. I'll slide into a couple, Danish shorties DMs, you know what I'm saying? And then see what happens from there. I would say that's another way to network and get to know people as well. So you never know.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, brother, now, transportation wise, in Copenhagen, right? How were you moving around? Were you walking around places, or is it Uber you have to take, or is there like a strong bus and subway system there? Break it out for me, bro.
You can walk around. It's a very walkable city. The thing I love about Europe in general is like most major cities you go to in Europe are either very walkable or very accessible to public transportation. whether it's taking the bus or taking the train. And like for me, like Boston, where I'm from, like Boston's a pretty walkable city. And then we also have public transportation here. I just don't use public transportation that much here when I'm at home. But over in Copenhagen, you find that because it's such a walkable city, you can walk to many different places, even depending on what neighborhood you're in. But you can also ride a bike if you could, because it's a very bike accessible city as well. Very similar to, if any of you brothers have been to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, in the Holland, very bike accessible like that city. I would say from a bike accessibility wise, it would give Amsterdam a run for its money, because what you find is there's bike lanes everywhere, and you have to respect and honor the bike lanes, because if you don't, you could get hit with a fine if a cop catches you. So always be considerate of the bicycle lanes where you're walking. Pay attention to the signs, and make sure you don't get hit by a bike, because there's bikes all over that place. And there's even bikes you can rent using just like a QR code. Like literally, like you have those bikes with the QR code. You have your cell phone, scan the QR code, unlock the bike, pay through your phone. The bike unlocks for you. You can ride your bike like all around the city. Or if you want to take the metro, the train system's great, really easy to navigate. Took me like a couple hours or so to kind of figure it out. And also, you know, you have your cell phone, use your GPS to figure out what train stops to get off. Easy, done. And then also you can use the DOT app to buy train tickets right there, bus tickets right there. Or if you get to the train station, you don't have the app on your phone, you can buy tickets right there at the kiosk, right at the train station. Done. So yeah, very easy city to kind of navigate, and you would not need a car. Like it makes no sense to rent a car. A lot of the local Danes don't even own cars. So there's no reason for you to like rent a car when you get to Copenhagen. Just, you know, if you need to Uber from the airport to get to your, you know, hotel or Airbnb, that's fine. That's what I did. I just Ubered from the airport to get to my Airbnb. I took an Uber when I was going home to get back to the airport from my Airbnb. But I never really set foot in the car at all during my time there, aside from those two moments, because it's such a walkable city. And also the trains, the buses run efficiently. And mind you, these are clean trains and metro stations. These aren't the dirty subways that you find in New York City. Nah, it's not like that. These are clean, well taken care of, very pristine, in good condition, good shape. You don't see any homeless people hanging out in the subways like you do in Manhattan in New York or in Brooklyn. No, it's not like that. You're not going to get knifed like you would in London, in East London, getting on the metro. It's not like that. Very safe country overall, low crime, not a lot of violence. Perfect for a brother maybe who hasn't really traveled that much. It'd be a good destination for you. You don't have much to worry about. Even if you're going on the train late at night, like I was, like 5, 6 in the morning, no one's going to try to come up to you and try to, you know, steal your jewelry or none of that. Try walking around with jewelry in West London at 6 in the morning. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. I kid you not. And you know, IP, you would not do it. But in Copenhagen, yeah, you can do it. No one's going to bother you.
Wow. So, Sam, can I ask this, right? So, when it comes to cash, right, is Copenhagen cashless, or do you have to use cash out there, brother?
It's cashless. Yeah, all Scandinavian countries, rule of thumb, guys, they're all cashless. Like they're basically going towards a cashless society. So you need your credit card, you need your debit card, you'll be fine. Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, pretty much accepted everywhere, you'll be fine. So it doesn't matter if you're going to Iceland, Norway, Sweden, or Denmark, or even Finland, from what I've heard as well. Credit card, debit card, you don't need cash. Don't waste your time going to a currency exchange. You're wasting your time. Many places will not accept cash. Don't even bother. Credit, debit card is king. Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, you're fine. That's all you need over there. That's all really you need.
What do you use, right? What debit card and what credit card do you use when you travel abroad? Because obviously you want to avoid FX fees, foreign exchange fees. Is there a special credit card you use to avoid that?
Yeah, so basically, if you want to avoid fees as much, so when you use your credit or debit card, if you're coming from the United States, I don't know about the UK or other countries, but when you're coming from the United States, many times what you'll see when you put your credit or debit card into the machine, it'll give you the option of paying in the Danish kroner currency or paying in the US dollar currency. Do not pick the US dollar currency because that's how you're going to get hit with the fees. Pick the Danish kroner currency. That's a rule of thumb, guys, no matter where you travel to, especially in Europe. If you're using your credit or debit card and on the machine, it gives you the option to pay in US dollars or to pay in their currency, always pick that country's currency because that's how you avoid the fees and paying more than you should. Just a rule of thumb.
Awesome, bro. Fantastic. So, brother, now next question for you, right, is now in regards to food. I think food is very important when I go abroad. Brother, what's your thoughts on Danish food? Do you like Danish food? If so, what was your favorite cuisines out there, bro?
I'll be honest, it's not really that impressive to me, personally speaking. Mexican food's my favorite food, so I'm a bit biased, to be honest with you. I definitely like a little spice and flavor in my food. Danish food, you're certainly not going to find that. But I did try it once just to see how it was like. It was actually on the advice of a nice Danish girl that I had the pleasure of meeting. We went out to a restaurant called Klarna Restaurant. So Klarna Restaurant is a traditional Danish restaurant. And if you look on the menu's in Danish and in English. And also they have the traditional Danish cuisines on there. So if you're a brother who's looking to try Danish food at least just one time, maybe just once when you're there, definitely check out Klarna Restaurant in Copenhagen. It's a very good Danish restaurant that you can try just to see what Danish food is like. The dish I got was called Fliggerstop. So Fliggerstop is like basically in English, it's basically like a burger that's made of pork. So it's basically a pork burger. So that's basically what it was. I mean, the pork was all right. The bun was a little tough. I'm not gonna lie. Even the Danish girl I was with, she was trying to cut it because they're very proper over there. They eat burgers with a knife and a fork, and she was even having trouble like cutting the bun with her knife. And like I was having a little bit of trouble too. So we kind of just like laughed about it. We're like, oh my god, like we're struggling to eat here because the bread is so tough. You can't even cut it with a knife. Yeah, but that's Danish food for you. Yeah.
Okay. So, but what did you eat? What did you eat at there mostly? Was it McDonald's every day? I'm assuming.
No, definitely not McDonald's. I didn't eat any fast food when I was there, unless you count maybe the shawarma that I tried one time from a local like shawarma spot. I don't know if you count that as like fast food. I tried shawarma one time. Maybe that's the closest I got to fast food. But no, I would just go to like a bunch of different like restaurants or typically like I don't really eat very much when I travel usually because like I usually go to the gym very early in the morning. So because I go to the gym very early in the morning, I fast until I get to the gym and I don't eat anything. And then after, usually I won't eat for a couple of hours. Maybe I'll have like a protein shake at the most, or maybe like a protein bar in the morning or something, or like maybe some fruit. But typically, I don't really eat that much until in the evening time when I'm traveling, just because I usually exercise in the morning.
Brother, what's the background noise? Is that your fan?
That might be the fan, yeah. So it kind of randomly turns on and off. I can make sure it's turned off permanently. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can shut it off.
No problem, bro. Brother, classic live stream so far. Shout out to Kick Gang, shout out to Twitch Gang, shout out to Rumble Gang. We're gonna crash out on Kick After, man. It's a great stream so far. He's been Denmark. Type on 1 if you're here with me. Type on 1. Thank you, Sam. So, Sam, next question for you, brother, right, is tell me about cost of living in Copenhagen. So when you compare the prices of Denmark to America, which is more expensive, which is cheaper, break it down for me, bro.
I would compare Copenhagen prices to like Boston prices where I'm from. Boston's a pretty expensive city. I wouldn't say it's as high as like New York City, Like New York City, I would compare to like Oslo, Norway, because Oslo, Norway was definitely like New York City prices. Copenhagen, I would probably compare to like Boston, maybe for sure, because Boston's like a little bit beneath LA or LA, New York as far as like expense wise. But it is very costly. It's not a cheap place to go. Yeah, because like Danish people are quite affluent and quite wealthy as well, and they get paid very high salaries too. So it's interesting because their salaries are very high, but they have a high income tax as well, almost 50% income tax, which is like crazy, honestly. But they get a lot of good benefits. Like it's a very socialist democrat country, so they get like a lot of good vacation time, a lot of good paid time off, and parental leave. Like if they have children, very generous parental leave for mothers and for fathers. And then also they have free healthcare and they have free education. So university is pretty much free for them, which is, I guess, a benefit that I'm sure for them they feel like offsets the high cost of living and the high income tax.
Wow, awesome, brother. But they are quite a wealthy country, right? So would you say that the average person in Denmark is rich, money, well off that you came across?
I wouldn't say the average person is rich, but a lot of them you find are very well to do. But yeah, I wouldn't say every single person is balling out of control. But when you go out in the nightlife, you will see some ballers. Like I remember when I went to this club, basically, it was so interesting because this club, Pavilion, really lit nightclub in Copenhagen. This girl that I was talking to on Instagram, she basically got me in for free. So she basically got me on a guest list to go to, I guess pre-party before the club was gonna like turn up at 11. So basically, this Danish TV personality that she knew was having a little get together at the club before the club actually opened for the night. So basically, she got me on the guest list, got me into the club, got me in where they were having an open bar and like food and all this stuff. I got to meet the Danish TV guy. Really cool guy, nice guy. He pretty much said, "Hey, help yourself to everything here. You know, drink as much as you want and everything." And then the club actually opened around 11, and that's when I saw all the people who were waiting outside coming in through the line. And yeah, there were a lot of ballers coming in. You know, getting tables, getting booths, getting bottle service. Bottle service is not cheap in Copenhagen. So if you see these people ordering bottle service, you know they got money because it is not cheap. It's very expensive.
Wow, brother. So what was your budget for, obviously apart from the Airbnb, for the 10 days you were there? How much you spend on, like, let's say your whole trip, food and entertainment was like 5 grand, 4 grand? Keep it a buck.
Well, for 10 days, for me, like I can be quite thrifty, so I don't. I try not to ball out of control when I'm traveling. As long as I, get my souvenirs and I got a good experience, I'm good. So for me personally, I didn't spend that much because I'm just kind of like thrifty like that. But yeah, if the average person's not careful, they could end up spending crazy amounts of money. Like if they're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner out every day, it's definitely going to cost you because restaurants are not cheap over there. I mean, if you're balling out of control, buying drinks in the nightlife, it's definitely going to run you up because cocktail drinks, especially, are not cheap there. If you want to save money going out to drink, then maybe get yourself a nice beer for the night. But yeah, it can definitely get crazy expensive for sure. But for me, because I kind of know how to save money and how to move, and I'm a little thrifty. I can be a cheapskate sometimes. So, yeah, for me, I'm just an extenuating circumstance.
So, brother, so you're telling me that so brother, so brother, when you're abroad, you don't eat out mostly. You cook your own food when you're abroad. That's interesting. So what do you eat when you're abroad, brother? Is like, is it protein shakes every day?
So typically, I don't really eat breakfast that much. Maybe I'll have like a coffee and some fruit. Like I said, I went to the gym every single day that I was there in the morning. So in the morning, I fast before going to the gym, so I don't eat anything. And then after, when I'm done with the gym, I'll maybe have a protein shake, or maybe a water, or maybe some coffee, or maybe some fruit, or a protein bar at most. So I'm not really eating out breakfast. And then maybe for lunch, I'll have like a salad somewhere. So when I would go to like some of these museums, they would usually have cafes in the museums. So maybe if I'm in the museum and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock, I'll maybe get like a salad, or like maybe something like light, something healthy, like a soup or something. And then I'll be good until like dinner time. And then maybe dinner time, I'll go maybe find a nice little like pizza restaurant or something like that, or maybe like a nice cafe, just get like a burger or something. But yeah, I won't really go crazy to like a fancy restaurant every night when I was there. No, that wouldn't make any sense to me. So that's usually how I move in general.
Brother, do you know what? There was one trip I went on abroad, right? And I kid you not, I must be McDonald's every day, bro. I don't know what happened, but F it. It's convenient, it's cheap. I was in McDonald's every day, bro. And not good, not good. Cook your own food or eat healthy. Um, so, but now when it comes to like let's go cell phone roaming in Copenhagen, did your American phone there and your data plan work there, or did you have to get like a Danish SIM card for your phone to work?
So I've never purchased a SIM card in another country when I traveled. Usually, what I'll do is in America we have a cell phone data service called T-Mobile. So I'll usually use the international data pass for T-Mobile. So that gives you basically the data and the texting and the Wi-Fi and the calling access once you travel to another country, because it covers the cell phone usage in that country. So that's basically what I'll use usually. I've never bought a SIM card ever when traveling to another country. I would always just get international data through my cell phone provider, through T-Mobile here in the States. That's usually what I would do. So I've never purchased a SIM card in another country. So I wouldn't know what to tell you as far as SIM cards go, because I've never purchased one genuinely.
Awesome, bro. So, brother, now when it comes to safety, right? So, um, now you're a dark skinned brother, right? And was it safe for you by yourself in the nighttime, in the daytime when you were clubbing? Was there any point where you felt unsafe, brother? Any sort of looks? Break it down for me, bro.
There are parts of downtown Copenhagen, particularly where the gypsies hang out, that you have to be careful around, because those parts tend to be a bit seedy, a little bit shady. I would compare it, for any of you UK brothers, maybe maybe an area like Croydon outside of London, or Hammersmith, or maybe Soho, maybe something a little like, maybe like 9, 10 o'clock, you probably wouldn't walk through there. You know what I'm saying? I would compare it to that. Or maybe for you American brothers, I would compare this part of the city center, Ragos Platon, to like if you're walking through the Bronx in New York, which I wouldn't recommend, or Harlem in New York, which I wouldn't recommend, or downtown Los Angeles, Figueroa, which I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, I would compare that area to those places. Just to give you guys some examples, you should probably avoid it. The city center is great; it's safe overall, but there are some parts where the gypsies hang out that you probably shouldn't be around. And you'll notice the gypsies, like you can spot them from a mile away. The gypsies tend to look a bit like brown skin complected, almost. They look almost Middle Eastern, but they're not Middle Eastern, and they tend to like stick in their own circles and their own groups, and they tend to be a bit disheveled, a bit dirty, a little bit. I hate to use that word like I'm speaking down on them, but this is the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. So be very careful around the gypsies, because they have a tendency to cause problems. And a lot of the local Danish people are getting kind of tired of them. So be on your guard for them. I'm not going to say all gypsies are bad, but some of them, you should definitely watch your pockets around.
Awesome, brother. Now, what about racism, brother? Was there any point in Copenhagen where you thought there was any sort of racism towards you, any racist looks, racial terms in Danish language, or the N word, or anything racist that happened to you at all? Acts, any shape or form?
No, nothing racist happened to me. I had very good experiences there. I received a lot of love. Again, the Danish girls are very friendly, especially when they find out you're not from Denmark. Then they really want to get to know you. Then they really get curious about you and where you're from, who you are, what are you doing there. You know, that's typical, like 100 questions. I only heard the N word one time, and it was from a Danish black guy who I guess was a bit overexcited to see me. It was very interesting because I remember I was at the LA Tequila Bar with this other Danish guy that I had met who was a DJ. And we were just hanging out, just talking, just shooting the breeze. And I guess this Danish black guy was so excited, I think, to see another brother. He was like, "Oh, what's good, my?" Yeah.
Wow. But how did you react to that, bro?
I was just a bit like confused because like I'm talking to this Danish guy, this DJ, and we're in our own section just hanging out, and he just came out of nowhere, just walked towards us and said it. And then I looked at him and like, okay, he's clearly a brother. He's a black guy, but he's speaking with an accent, so he's clearly probably Danish. And I was just so confused in the moment, IP. And I had a little bit of alcohol in my system too, which probably didn't help keep my mind clear. I was just kind of like, what? And like I just kind of like dabbed him up, and I was like, what just happened? And even the Danish guy I was with was confused, like, do you know that person? I was like, no, I don't know that guy. Yeah, it was weird.
Wow. So some black people are an embarrassment, man. You can't be doing that, saying racial slurs to any black person randomly, even someone you know. I mean, we have to get away from that and be taken seriously as black men. No other group of people call themselves racial slurs, but we do, which is embarrassing. That's got to stop. Um, that's got to stop. That's got to stop, man. It just frustrates me as to why some black people love to embarrass themselves in front of everyone in the whole world. Stop it, right? It's so embarrassing, bro. It pisses me off. So, brother, next question for you, right, is so, brother, now, would you personally live in Copenhagen, Denmark, brother?
I would live there part time, but not full time. And if I lived there part time, it would be during the summer, and it would not be during the winter. It would not be in the fall. It would not be in the spring because it gets way too cold over there for my taste. And I'm from Boston, and we get a lot of snow here. So I'm not trying to go all the way to another country and deal with all that snow. No, 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 no. I'm going to hang out and enjoy the Scandinavian summertime, and then I'm gone. And that's all that probably I would tolerate. I would probably do the same thing if I wanted to stay in Sweden again or Norway. I definitely wouldn't stay in Iceland part time because it's just way too cold all the time, and I'm not down with that.
Awesome. Now, brother, culture. Now, what's the culture like in Copenhagen? Is it conservative or is it liberal? If so, why does it lean that way? Or is it a mixture of both? Break it out for us, bro.
It's a liberal culture, straight up. And you find all these Scandinavian countries, Finland, again, Iceland, Norway, Sweden. I'm going to keep bringing these countries up because I want everyone to be aware that all these countries that I just mentioned are some of the most liberal countries in Europe. If not the world, I would argue, because literally everyone you talk to is a social democrat. I kid you not. Everyone you talk to is almost literally a social democrat. And if they're not a social democrat, they will identify as a progressive. And if they don't identify as a progressive, they will identify as a liberal. And with liberal people, with progressive people, with social democrat people, these are left wing people. So they think in left wing terms. So, they think of openness, inclusivity, egalitarianism, feminism. These are the characteristics that they always lean towards, which I think is the reason why some of them have issues with the Muslim population there, because the Muslim population don't share these values. And I think that's why there's so much tension right now with them.
Interesting. Interesting, bro. So now, brother, how bad is American influence in Denmark? From what you saw, from what you heard, is it there, American influence? If so, how bad is it?
So, what you have to understand is American influence is superseded all over the world. Whether you want to admit it or not, American influence is superseded all over the world. Even in parts of the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, which is becoming more westernized by the day, is, to some degree, American influence is all over the world. It just comes in different degrees and shades to an extent. Whether you go to Dubai in the Middle East or Abu Dhabi, you will see American influence. If you go to Saudi Arabia in Mecca or even in outside, you will see American influence. If you go to Morocco in North Africa, you will still see a little bit of American influence. It may not be as out there as maybe in the UK. It may not be as out there as in Australia or New Zealand, but to a degree, it's superseded all across the globe. It just comes in different variations and different shades. And then if you go to Denmark, you find that, yeah, like they watch American shows, they watch American movies, they know American singers, obviously, like most people around the globe do who have access to cell phones and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. But also, you find that they have a perception of Americans as to that Americans, and this perception of Americans is quite common in Europe, I've noticed, that most Americans are not very intelligent, which I agree with, that most Americans are overweight, which I also agree with, that most Americans are uneducated when it comes to what goes on in the rest of the world, which I also agree with, that Americans aren't really good at traveling to other places and learning about other cultures, which I also agree with. Yeah, many Danish people that I sat down with, we talked to about these things. We talked about how America is like a bubble that a lot of people, because America is so flippin' big, a lot of people are comfortable in that bubble and they can't branch out. And then they think America is the end all be all when it's not. So this is the perception that many Danish people have of America. So if you think that because you're American, they're just going to bow down to you just because of your accent, I wouldn't be so quick as to say that, because their perception of Americans already is that Americans are stupid, which Americans are. I'm the only one who's not. Me and Theo Wack, of course. Shout out to Theo. Me and Theo are one of the few.
Shout out to Phil, man. Shout out to Sam. So next question for you, brother, is but actually, did you see American influence on the woman at all? In a bad way or a good way, or not at all?
I mean, I wouldn't say any different than any other country I've been to, because, everyone knows American singers, everyone knows American R&B artists, American rappers, everyone knows American film stars, American TV shows, everyone knows these things. So in terms of them really being influenced by America, I wouldn't say so, because they already have their own influence, the Scandinavian influence. I mean, for them, they are Nordic Scandinavian people. So the Scandinavian influence supersedes everything, you know? That is the main influence there. I mean, that is the way they do things. So if you're American and you come with your own way of doing things, it's not going to work over there, because they say, no, 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 no. This is Denmark. And in Denmark, we have our way of doing things. So you either assimilate and go with the flow with what we do, or get out, kick rocks, beat it.
Facts, bro. So now, brother, can I ask you about lifestyle? So in your time there, Copenhagen, right? What kind of lifestyle is the average person living there? Is it high class, middle class, lower class, on average, brother?
I would say middle class, because they have that safety net of socialism, right? This is a socialist country, right? That's why a lot of these people identify as social democrats. Huh? So, because of this safety net from socialism, whereas the government taxes them 50% of their income and takes it and uses it and distributes it to different variations and avenues, whether it's the healthcare system or the education system. So they have these benefits, whereas they'll always have that safety net over their heads. If they don't have money for food, if they don't have, a place to live, the government will step in and they will give them some way out of their situation. So many Danish girls I spoke to, they're very happy to live in Denmark because of this socialism safety net. And even though they pay a lot of their income tax out of it, they still said they're grateful because they see where the tax is going. And it's going to good places. I mean, I can't even argue with that. I mean, the streets are clean, the metro, the trains are clean. Like the trains here in America, in New York City, is filthy, is dirty. There's rats, there's urine everywhere, it smells like feces. But over there, you don't see any homeless people sleeping on the side of the buses. You don't see feces or urine in the subways. Everything is clean, crystal clean. Everybody is getting on the train, sitting down quiet, respectful, courteous. Space is sacred to everyone over there. And there's no problems. You don't see people being loud and rambunctious and going viral on World Star like you see in Los Angeles or in Miami. It doesn't happen over there. You will never see it.
Awesome. Awesome, bro. So now next question for you, brother, is now in terms of what kind of lifestyle, if you're living there, brother, would you live or yeah, someone of your ilk, brother, would live there permanently? Is it a high class lifestyle, middle class, particularly if you was to take yourself America to Denmark, brother, to live there?
If I made the decision to at least spend a significant amount of time out of the summers there, it would definitely have to be a high roller style because, man, that city, yeah, it's expensive. It's not a cheap place to be, and there's some benefits to it, there's some downsides to it. But for me personally, from what I saw, I felt much safer over there than I felt in many parts of America. And I think that says a lot because you don't have this issue of gun violence and knife crime and things of that nature. No, you don't have it. So over there, I think if I wanted to stay there maybe for a whole month of June, I would do it. But it would be very costly, but I think it would be worth it because there's so many things I wouldn't have to worry about that I have to worry about here living in the States.
Facts. So, brother, can I ask you about now as a tourist, right? Tell us things to do there or hobbies to do in Copenhagen, brother, as a tourist.
Definitely check out the King's Gardens. So the King's Gardens is a beautiful garden area outside of Rosenborg Castle. So Rosenborg Castle is a castle where the Danish royal family used to live. They don't live there anymore, but you can still go inside and visit. And then you have the King's Gardens outside the castle, which you can also roam around and you can take pictures there. It's a very beautiful area. And they have nice exhibits inside Rosenborg Castle that you can explore and check out, and you can learn something about Danish culture. And then you can also go visit the royal palace. You can't go inside the palace, but the royal family does live there. So if you want to take pictures outside the palace, if you want to take pictures with the guards who are carrying AK-47s outside the palace, you can do that as well. There's actually a museum right next to the royal palace that also takes you through exhibits about like the Danish royal family and stuff. So it was very interesting to learn about. Definitely learned a lot about the Danish royal family that I didn't really know. They don't really hold much power in the government, but they just kind of exist and are there. Not so different from the royal family in the UK or the royal family in Spain, for that matter. But yeah, there's also an amusement park that's also for adults that you can visit. It's called Tivoli. So Tivoli is an amusement park grounds, a very beautiful place with a bunch of different like fine dining restaurants, nice bars, nice cafes, nice coffee shops. So if you meet a lovely Danish girl while you're in Copenhagen and you're looking for something to do, you can suggest to her, hey, want to go meet up at Tivoli? And if you say that, she'll definitely be down for it. And she'll probably be impressed that you know what Tivoli is too.
Wow. Wow. So, brother, now language, right? Do we have to know Danish, or is English enough to communicate successfully in Denmark?
English is enough to communicate. Danish people speak perfect English. That's the good thing about going to Scandinavia. Whether you go to Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, they all speak perfect English. Some of them speak better English than folks here in America, which says a lot because their English is very on point because they learn at such a young age, you know. In primary school, they're already learning English. And then also they're watching American movies and TV shows, which also helps English too. And also, like, if you're trying to learn another language, it's good to watch that language's television shows because then you can pick up and hear, you can read the subtitles as well, which will improve your motor functions in your mind about, you know, learning the language. So this is very beneficial. So, you know, I have to give them a shout out for speaking very good English. You know, there was only one Danish girl I met who spoke really bad English. Like her English was terrible. Like it was so bad. Like I was really struggling to understand what she was saying. And it was so funny because this sweet girl, I don't want to talk too much trash about her, but I have to be honest, her English was garbage. But it was so funny because she was like, "Oh, you know, I want to go and visit the UK and London. Do you think my English will be good?" I was like, no, like, girl, you need to take English classes. You need to improve. Like, I'm sorry, but your English is not good. Like, they're gonna struggle over there." She's like, "Oh, really? Are you sure?" I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And those folks in London aren't gonna be nice about it too. I'm actually being nice to you and telling you.
Damn. So, brother, what's the weather like out there in Copenhagen when you're out there, bro?
It was pretty warm. I would say it's like a high of 70, 80 degrees some days. But like during the evening, it would get a bit chilly. So it would be like a low of 50 sometimes at night. But the weather would fluctuate. So sometimes during the day, it would be high 70, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But then in the evening time, it would get like cold, like maybe 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And then like sometimes when I'd be outside, I would be like, dang, like I'm a little chilly. And then like the Danish girls would be like, yeah, you know, sometimes at nights, even in summer, it gets a little chilly here. So you might need to pack a long sleeve. So yeah, definitely pack some long sleeves, pack some rain jacket as well because it rains quite a bit sometimes randomly. So the weather can be very bipolar. So I would say pack all layers even during the summertime. Yeah, it's just a rule of thumb.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Now, but I want to ask you about nightlife, right? Um, could you break down the nightlife scene there in Copenhagen? Is it vibrant? Is it great? Some of the best you've ever been to? What's the music like out there as well? What do they play in the clubs? Looking out for you, bro.
Yeah, the nightlife's popping in Copenhagen. You definitely won't be disappointed if you're a brother who likes to go out and socialize in the nighttime. You'll have a very good time because Danes, they drink a lot and they go crazy. And they'll stay out late too. Like, I kid you not, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, I didn't get home to my Airbnb till like 5, 6 in the morning.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. These people go party hard, man. So you got to keep up with them. Otherwise, they're going to leave you behind. Yeah. The nightlife is really good. There's a bunch of different bars and clubs that you can go to. Tyrolia is a very good bar with a dance floor. I actually met the DJ who was working there. It was cool because actually another Danish girl that I had the pleasure of meeting off Tinder, we matched and we were hanging out. And then we went to Tyrolia, this bar or club, and the DJ who was playing there was a friend of hers. So she introduced us, and we're hanging out in the DJ booth. You know, VIP. People are looking, trying to figure out who I am. I think maybe they thought I was someone special, but I'm not. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. And then I met also the manager of that club as well, and he was a super cool guy. You know, asking me questions like, "Hey, like, what are you doing in Copenhagen? how long are you staying? Why are you here? Did you come alone? And like, yes, yes, yes. And it was funny because one of the bartenders who was working there, it was her birthday that night. So basically, we're all in a section, VIP, and they're ordering bottle service for her because it's her birthday. And I'm basically drinking for free because I'm with them. And it was like one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. I was like, wow, I've never really had this experience in the States. So this is kind of wild. And they were just like, welcome to Copenhagen. Like, we really hope you enjoy your time here. I was like, thank you very much. I think I will.
How did you meet those, brother? How did you meet the woman that gave you the VIP spot, or new people in clubs? Did you meet online? Did you know in the States?
Yeah, this Danish girl I met from Tinder. So we met up earlier that night, and her friend was with her as well, another Danish girl, and we were all just hanging out. So we met at a bar called Proud Mary. So Proud Mary is like a pub. They have a little dance floor too, but it's mostly like an Irish pub. So we met at Proud Mary Pub, which is a really good pub if you want to just hang out and chill. So we met up there, and then we would just go to a bunch of different spots. So we went to LA Tequila Bar. We went to Tyrolia. Tyrolia was the place where we met that DJ who was her friend. And he was a cool dude, super cool dude, humble, down to earth, very polite, very respectful. Invited me into the DJ booth with him. I got to take videos in the DJ booth and I posted it in the Facebook group. It was a good time. Yeah, it was a very good time.
Awesome, awesome, bro. Now, brother, now what kind of music do they play in the clubs there and the nightlife there, brother? Is it rap music? Kind of is rap. I hope they ain't saying the N word, brother, from the songs. The people.
Hip hop, R&B, and Danish music, and some Swedish music too.
Okay, but they're not saying the N word. Danish people in the songs.
I didn't hear any Danish people say the N word aside from that Danish black guy. He's the only one I heard who said the N word.
Okay. Now, brother, when you say hip hop and R&B, right, and you're the only black person in the club, I'm assuming, right? Are there
One,
eyes on you? Come, bro.
one of the few. One of the few
What?
black.
One of the few, right? Are the women drawn towards you because you're in a club where they're playing black music? Are they looking at you? They want to dance with you? Was that your experience there in the nightlife?
Yeah, when you're in a VIP, like a booth section, and there's bottle service in front of you, and they're trying to figure out, okay, this guy must have some kind of status because women in general around the world, it doesn't matter where you go. You can go to London, you can go to Colombia, you can go to Brazil, you can go to Panama, you can go to Canada, you can go to Italy. It doesn't matter where you go. Women all over the world are drawn to status. Period. They're drawn to status. It doesn't matter where you are, even if you're in Casablanca, Morocco. Women are drawn to status. So if you are a brother who knows how to dress, who knows how to present yourself, is able to communicate yourself well and mingle with people, you will get people's attention, the women's attention, particularly. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome, bro. Now, brother, uh, in Copenhagen, right? Um, you may not know the answer to this, right? But do you think it offers like a remote working landscape for passport bros to remote work there? I'm looking for a strong internet connection. I'm looking for infrastructure. I'm looking for peace of mind and peace, particularly a strong internet connection, brother. Can we find that there in Copenhagen?
You can certainly find that there, but if you're looking to live there long term, eventually you will be expected to learn Danish. And I kid you not, Danish is a very difficult language to learn. I was even asking local Danes, like, hey, how hard is Danish to learn? They're just like, oh, yeah, Danish is hard, man. It's very difficult to learn. So that's something you have to be mindful about if you were going to like live there long term and work for a Danish company. Everybody speaks perfect English, but if you're going to be living there long term, or if you're working for a company there, at some point you might be expected to start learning the language. But if you're working remotely, then you probably wouldn't have to learn the language at all. But if you're trying to live there on a permanent basis, that's another story.
Okay. Brother, what were the bad parts about Copenhagen that you didn't like personally?
I have to think about it because there was so much about it I loved. I mean, it was a fun city. I definitely could have booked a ticket tonight and gone back. I'm trying to think because honestly, I would say one thing I don't like is how difficult it is to make friends there. I mean, even local Danes complain about how hard it is to make friends. And also, there's this air of self reliance, self sufficiency. So basically, everyone is equal, everyone is egalitarian, and you're expected to just solve everything on your own. You can't be bothering people to help you solve your problems. You got to figure it out yourself. Which, as an adult, of course, you should be self sufficient. But there comes a point where if you need some help, you kind of want to reach out to somebody. And this is something that Scandinavians are not good at doing. They are not good at trying to put themselves in other people's shoes and empathize and try to help others, especially in terms of if it's like something serious, like a mental health crisis, for example. And I know this because one of the Danish girls I met talked about her own experience of how she had been dealing with mental health issues. She had been struggling with depression, and how difficult it was to get even her Danish friends, even the Danish friends that I met going out, such as the DJ, such as the other girls, to really empathize with her about what she was going through. Because Scandinavians, because they're so inclined to be amongst themselves and have their own things going on, it's very hard for them to go and, give some empathy and try to assist others in terms of, hey, you're going through something, let me do what I can. Or, oh, you're dealing with this, let me see if I can help you there. This is not how they are as a people. And that, I think, is why there's a lot of mental health and self deletion in these places.
Damn.
Yeah,
Flipping heck.
there's a dark undertone in these places. Even though they're very affluent, they're very wealthy, they have very high salaries, they speak very good English, they are very intelligent people, extremely polite, very sharp, very shrewd, very calculating, but there's an undertone. There's something that there's missing, something that you can't put your finger on when you're there, but when you talk to people and you really figure out what's going on, you can see that yeah, there's a dark side, there's an undertone. Yeah.
Wow.
Every
Oh,
country has this, by the way. Every country has this. And Denmark is no exception.
flipping heck. So, but I want to ask this right now. Should brothers travel alone or in a group to Copenhagen? And tell us why.
I traveled alone and I was perfectly fine. You can travel in a group if you want. Maybe then you'll be able to like take the pressure off yourself if you travel with a group. And then if you go out, you can easily more cold approach in the nightlife in a group because typically girlfriends don't go out by themselves. So they usually go out with their girlfriends, right? So if you're with a group of brothers or with another guy, then it'll be easier for you to divide and conquer, so to speak. So yeah, that would be good. But I went by myself. I did fine. I had no issues. So you can travel by yourself. You'll be fine too. You'll make new friends like I did.
Awesome. And final question before we move on to the woman part, brother. Out of 10, what do you rate Copenhagen, Denmark? And tell me your score as to why you rated that particular number.
I'll give it a 7.5 because the women there are very beautiful and also the nightlife is very good. The food is very healthy. A shout out to the European Union. You guys ban a lot of the ingredients we use here in the United States, and for good reason, mind you. And so, when I'm eating in Copenhagen or any European country for that matter, I feel a lot more healthier. And also, Copenhagen is a very walkable city, which is good because you're getting more cardio, right? So you're burning calories as you're walking around. And if you're riding a bike, you're bike riding, you're burning even more calories walking or bike riding. So that's why I would give it a 7.5. But it's very expensive, so I wouldn't give it any higher rating because the cost of living is very high. So maybe for a brother who's, maybe a bit on the cheapskate side and is used to going to maybe, let's say, Dominican Republic or Sosua or Colombia, then you probably shouldn't go to Copenhagen because Copenhagen is expensive. So you won't be looking for, the prices that you find in those impoverished third world countries that are developing. Because Denmark is a developed country. Yes? Scandinavian countries are rich countries, okay? So bear that in mind when you travel there.
Awesome, bro. Before going to the woman part, shout out to Just John for the support. Appreciate you, bro. Can a brother talk about how Danish women compare to other Scandinavian women? It's got culture more extreme out there. Oh, you want to get straight into it? But okay, before I ask that question, hold that question there, Just John. So great first breakdown there, Sam. Sam, do you want to get any water? Do you want to take a break, 2-minute break before going to the woman part, brother? Up to you.
No breaks. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's get it. So, brother, right? I'm going to ask you, brother, a very important question. And this question, to me, Sam, is probably the most important question in the history of mankind, right? This question, Sam, is so important, so potent, so elegant. Even God and Christ knows of this question, bro. It's a question so powerful, brother. It can cause earthquakes, volcano shocks, volcano eruptions, seismic shocks, seismic waves. It's a question so well known, Mr. Sam, that even aliens in outer space in Jupiter, Mars, Pluto, Saturn even know of this question, bro. Bro, it's a question so pure and potent, it can turn water into wine and vice versa. The money making question is, brother, is are Danish women, brother, in Denmark checking super duper heavy for black men and passport bros, bro?
Well, they were checking for me, so I don't know about the rest of you, but from my experience, they certainly were.
And why is that, bro? Why were they checking for you? Why are they checking for brothers out there? What is it about black men that they like out there in Denmark, the women?
Carry yourself well. Know how to dress. Know how to move. Have confidence when you walk. Walk straight. Don't walk like you're nervous or like you're confused. Even if you're lost somewhere, you can't figure out where you're going, still, walk with a pep in your step. I think this is what, people will be inclined to. And so if you carry yourself this way, you know how to move, you'll be just fine. Trust me, you won't have any problems there, especially if you're dealing with Danish women. Because a lot of Danish women, because they're very well traveled, many of them have traveled to 10, 20, 30 plus countries because they're very affluent and they have the money to do so. Yes? Okay. These are not impoverished, poor girls that would drug you and rob you, let's say in other countries. Huh? No, that's not how they operate. So, because they're well traveled and because they've been to so many different countries, they're more interested in other cultures and foreigners. So, if you're a brother who's not from Denmark and you show up, naturally they'll be curious to know who you are. And oftentimes, when you're walking out in public, as I was during the day, you find that they'll stare at you, and sometimes they'll stare at you maybe because they're trying to figure out where you're from. Or maybe they're staring at you because they're trying to see if maybe you live there, or you're an immigrant, or you're a tourist, or you're just a visitor, or where you're from, what's your story. Oftentimes they'll stare at you because of these things. So when you go out in the nightlife, for sure, and you know how to carry yourself, you know how to move, if you're able to, communicate, you're able to be around people, you're able to socialize, you're able to cold approach, they'll definitely be curious as to who you are and where you're from and what's your story. So yeah, you'll have opportunities to get to speak to them for sure.
Wow, incredible. So, brother, can I ask you as to um but tell me more about the look of Danish woman, brother. Like Scandinavia, known for having dime women. Does that also apply in Denmark? How good looking is the average woman out there, brother? What striking features do they have, brother, out there?
Extremely good looking, extremely good looking. I would say the most beautiful women in Scandinavia are in Sweden, because in Stockholm, like you just see beautiful women left and right, even working in grocery stores, which is crazy to me. But in Denmark, there's a lot of beautiful women as well. But I would say Sweden definitely takes the cake. And it was interesting. I was having the same conversation with two Danish girls and one Swedish girl. We were sitting together having drinks in the evening, and the Swedish girl was really curious as to what I thought about Swedish women compared to Danish women. And I said, well, Swedish women, they're very beautiful. Stockholm was a wonderful city. And she was very insistent. She was like, no, 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 but which one do you think is the most beautiful? Like, which one is your type? Please tell me, tell me. And like she was really insistent, like she really wanted to get an answer from her brother. You know what I'm saying? So I was like feeling a little bit under pressure. Like, well, I mean, since you keep asking, I would say Swedish women are definitely the most beautiful, but Danish women are pretty beautiful as well. Like, there's not as many overweight, obese women as you would find, let's say, in the southern part of the United States, for example, like in Atlanta, Georgia, or Alabama or Mississippi or something like that. Yeah, these women, they take good care of themselves because fitness is a big deal in Denmark. Exercise, nutrition, health and wellness, meditation, yoga. They value these things a lot, which I think a lot of Americans could learn from. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Now, but personality-wise, right? How are Danish women like? Are they feminine? Are they soft? Are they kind people, or are they feminist? I know feminism is quite strong out there in Denmark. So, personality, brother, is very strong, independent, boss babe woman, or feminine, toned down. Break it out for me, bro.
So when you first deal with them and you first talk to them, from an outward perspective, they will seem feminine. But the minute you actually sit down and get to know them, you have a drink with them, you get a cup of coffee with them, and they start speaking to you, you realize that these people are not truly feminine at all. They are feminists. They are strong, staunch, independent, boss babe feminists that make their own money, that can buy their own things, that can pay for their own stuff, that don't need a man because they already have what they need because they live in a wealthy, affluent country. So, what need do they have of you to buy for their, pay for their things, buy them things? No, they always will insist that they can pay for everything themselves. Like these two Danish girls and this Swedish girl that I mentioned before that we were outside having drinks with. I didn't have to pay for any of their drinks at all. They paid for everything themselves. I paid for mine, they paid for theirs. And the Swedish girl especially, was drinking a lot that night. And it was like a Tuesday evening, too. And mind you, the Swedish girl and the other Danish girl, they had a total of about maybe 9, 10 cups of white wine. I'm like, why? Why drink so many cups of wine on a Tuesday evening? It just blew my mind. I only had probably 2 drinks that night, and I couldn't understand it. And like the more they were drinking and downing the cups of wine, the more they would talk and reveal themselves. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's good when women get more comfortable with you and they're sitting down and engaging with you. They will expose themselves, and then you get to know how they think and what they're about, which I certainly did in that instance, for example. And then you notice also these women. You go to the bars, you go to the clubs, they have this Swedish tobacco called snuff that they always like to put into their mouths. And I'm just looking, I'm like, why? Why do you have to put tobacco into your mouth when you're going out? I don't understand it. These are masculine traits, IP. These are not feminine traits. Do you think a feminine woman in Russia or Ukraine or in Panama would be putting tobacco in her mouth? No.
Facts. So when you would say like these women are not wifey, they're just for a good time.
if you're a brother who's a soy boy and a feminist and an egalitarian and a progressive left wing Alexia Ocasio Cortez worshiping liberal, then maybe women would be wifey for you because these are the values that they have. They're certainly no fans of Donald Trump. Anything that is conservative, anything that is Republican, anything that is traditional, they're against. And this is another reason why they don't like the Muslims. And so if you're a brother who is more religious, more believing in gender roles, more believing that a man is a man, a woman is a woman, believing in hierarchy in a household, these women will not be wifey for you. It will not be compatible because these women, they don't believe in gender roles. They believe men and women are the same, equal, same.
Damn. So, brother, are you most referring to the white ethnic Danish women? Because I'm sure there's like probably non-white Danish women there. What about Asian women, black women, mixed race women, brother? Did you come across non-white Danish chicks, brother? If so, where were they at mentally, in your opinion?
I did come across like some mixed race Danish girls. I came across one girl who was Peruvian but was adopted by Danish parents as a child.
Mm.
But the mindset is the same because remember, the Scandinavian influence is what is strong there. It's not the American influence, even though they keep up with what goes on in America, but the Scandinavian influence supersedes everything. And the Scandinavian influence is how they expect their partner or whoever they're in a long term relationship with to behave. Because this is what they were used to. This is all they know. This feminist egalitarian mindset is how they're brought up. So it would be very difficult if someone who is not brought up that way to come into the picture and try to make them their wifey and say, hey, I have this way of doing things. And they're going to be like, what? No, this is Denmark. We have our way of doing things. And if you want to look at how a Danish girl will behave, Google Nina Agdal, the Danish supermodel. You want to know how Danish girls move? Google her. Google her.
Ah, I know of her.
Yeah,
I think she got married to one of the Logan brothers, and we know
it-
what happened. Was it
yeah,
2 years ago in that
yes,
fight, or
that's
last year? Do you
exactly.
remember that?
Yes,
Mm.
I do.
Crazy. Time flies. That was 2023, wasn't it? Time
It
flies.
was. And I still remember it like it happened yesterday. And I'm sure a lot of people do.
Damn. Yeah. So, so brother, that thinking is prevalent amongst women of all races and culture living in Denmark. Eventually, that kind of programming will seep into a woman who's living in Denmark. So you want to avoid um, long-term wifing up a Danish chick. Mm.
Say so, but it depends what kind of brother you are. Again, now if you're a liberal progressive brother, then I'm sure you'll find a wife pretty easy over there. But if you're conservative, if you're more traditional, if you believe in gender roles, then you're probably going to get a hard time over there because these people don't believe in gender roles, like I said before. And the other thing is, there's a lot of immigrants who come from other countries there. So, maybe these folks who come from other countries, maybe they might not share the same progressive values as the Danish people. So maybe you might be more inclined to them. I don't know. But this is the case over there. So this is what you will find when you go there. So just, don't be surprised.
Wow. Okay. So, brother, now you went out with some Danish women, brother, right? Um, how did you meet them, brother? What would you say is the best way in meeting Danish women? Is it the apps? Is it cold approaching? If so, if it's the apps, what apps do you use? Break it down for me, bro.
You can use Tinder. I met some Danish girls from Tinder. Also, if you have a public Instagram profile, you can use Instagram. Maybe slide in some DMs if you want to do that. I did that as well. I would say also you can use maybe Hinge. I hear Hinge is a good app. So maybe you can try Hinge, the dating app as well. But yeah, I met a couple Danish girls off Tinder and a couple from Instagram. Yeah. The first Danish girl I met that we got Danish food together at Klarna restaurant, I met her from Tinder. And she was, she was a very pleasant girl, very nice to talk to. Definitely learned a lot about Denmark from her. And she was very interesting because, even though she was feminist and liberal, she still said she wanted to be married one day. And she said she was explicitly wanting to get married in a church, which I thought was very interesting because I was like, huh, well, that's interesting. You say you want to get married in the church, but Danish people are not religious. So why do you want to get married in a church? And she said, well, it's traditional. We get baptized as babies in the Danish church, so it's just a formality, it might be something nice. And I said, okay, well, I can respect that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Damn. Wow. So, okay. Let me read the super chat here. Shout out to Mr. Just Done for the support. It says here, how do Danish women compare to other Scandinavian women, brother, that you've come across or dealt with?
Very beautiful. Again, Google the supermodel Nina Agdal. She's from Denmark. A lot of girls that you're going to see just walking around, they look like her, if not more beautiful. But Sweden definitely has the more beautiful women in Scandinavia. I don't care what no one says. Matter of fact, I can tell you a little bit of history. So there was this modeling agency, John Casablanca. He was a man who founded a modeling agency in New York. The modeling agency was called Elite Model Management. And this entrepreneur, this American John Casablanca, quickly made this modeling agency to be one of the top modeling agencies in the fashion world. It was competing with Wilhelmina Modeling Agency. It was competing with Ford Modeling Agency. It was one of the top-notch modeling agencies back in the day when it started, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And John Casablanca gave an interview one day with a journalist, and the journalist asked him, how were you able to take this agency that you have, Elite Model Management, to be one of the top modeling agencies in the fashion world? And John Casablanca said, oh, well, it was quite simple, actually. I just got on a plane, flew to Scandinavia, to Sweden, actually, and would just pick up models and sign them off the street. That's all he did. That's all he did. And he made his modeling agency to be one of the top modeling agencies in the fashion world. Even to this day, people know the name John Casablanca. So do with that information what you will.
Wow. Interesting. So, but I can ask you right now, is hookup culture extreme out there in Denmark?
Yeah, it's very extreme because, again, these people don't socialize during the day and they don't cold approach strangers, not during the day. They keep to themselves. So when it's nighttime and they go out to the bars and the clubs, they're looking to an escape. And these women, particularly, they're looking for something to do that night. Okay? So you need to bear that in mind because these women are very liberated, right? These are progressive women, yes. Feminist women, yes. So they believe whatever a man can do, a woman can also do. So in their minds, they believe, well, if a man can sleep around and hook up with girls in bars and take them home from nightclubs, then a woman can sleep around too and hook up with guys and take guys home from nightclubs. And there will be no shame for her doing it. And if you try to shame them, if you try to make them feel like they're dirty for doing it, they're going to come at you. They're going to come at you hard. And I don't know if you want to deal with that.
Damn. Flipping heck. So Denmark is exactly like Sweden. And there was one Scandinavian country I heard was quite conservative. But I thought it was Denmark. maybe it was Finland. I heard is because obviously that's near the Russian border, Mr. Sam. So maybe that's why they're a bit different there in their thinking. This is a bit interesting. So okay, now, brother, now when you went on dates with Danish women, brother, right? Because they're so feminist there, did they pay for your food or did they still going 50-50 and they never let you pay for their food or drink?
Most of them insist on going 50-50. Yeah. Like I said, the two Danish girls and the Swedish girl that I met out for drinks, they paid for all their drinks themselves. And they were drinking a lot. I only ordered like 2 drinks IP and I was fine. But these girls, they were ordering 9, 10, 11 glasses of wine. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Why? I don't understand it, but they paid for it all themselves. So I was like, oh, independent woman, yeah, do as you say you will do. All right. You hear me? And then also, I remember I went out to a mini golf date with this other Danish girl, and she paid for it. I didn't have to pay. She paid for both of us. So that was very nice of her. I think it was probably because I took her out to eat the day before. So maybe she felt like, oh, let me return the favor. So the mini golf, the drinks, she paid for it all. I didn't have to pay for any of them. So that was very kind of her. I appreciated that.
This is interesting. So, wow. But so compare the dating scene in Denmark to America. Is it better in Denmark? Is it better in America? What's your honest opinion there, bro?
I think for me personally, it's better in Denmark because I'm not from Denmark. So because I'm not from Denmark, that gives me something that is more unique, something that is more appealing, something that stands out, that makes people curious. You see what I'm saying? But when I come home to America, I blend in, I fit in, I'm just like every other brother here. But over there, once you leave America, you go to another country. Doesn't matter what country it is. Could be Argentina, could be Chile, could be Rwanda, could be South Africa. You automatically, your status goes up because you are different. And I think that's something that I enjoy. And I think every brother enjoys that. And if a brother says that they don't enjoy that, they're lying.
Okay. Wow. Bubba, so Bubba, tell me 5 things you like about Swedish woman. Sorry, Danish woman.
Number one, you won't have to worry about paying for their stuff all the time because they pay for their own things. So that's nice. There's not this expectation that you have to pay for everything on the first date. They'll pay for it themselves. Number two, they speak very good English. So that will help, especially if you're a brother who's never traveled before. You'll be probably more comfortable going to a place where they speak very good English already. Number three, I would say they're very articulate in terms of what's going on in the world. So they're very in tune with what's going on global events. So that gives you things to talk about. Number four, I would say they're definitely a lot of fun to go out with because they definitely like to party. So that will, be exciting for you to experience. And then number five, the fifth thing I would have to say is they're very beautiful on average. The average Danish girl is very, very beautiful and very attractive. So you definitely won't run out of beautiful women to talk to. They're all over the place. So that's number five.
But tell me 5 things you don't like about Danish chicks.
They can be very cold and very calculating, and also they have a poker face sometimes, so you can't really tell what they're thinking. And I think probably the weather has a part to play with that. Number two, they can be too independent to the point where if you try to offer any assistance at all, whether it's even holding a door or whether it's offering their hand to help them up if they fall, they're going to look at you like, hey, what are you doing? I can do it myself. Are you trying to infantilize me? And that's number two. Number three, I would have to say, in terms of how they look at relationships, they obviously look at it differently than folks would probably here in the States. Whereas for them, relationship is not something that they're yearning for. It's something that may come like years later. They just want to have a good time for as long as they can. And I think that's why they travel so much too, because they want to experience as much as they can. Number four, they exude typical hipster behavior. When I say hipster behavior, this hipster mindset as they want to try new things just for the sake of trying new things. And there's no purpose behind it. They just, if they have the impulse to do it, they want to do it. If they want to travel to Rio, they're going to travel to Rio. If they want to travel to like Cordoba, Argentina, they're going to travel to Cordoba, Argentina, just for the impulse of it, just for the sake of it. So there's no real meaning behind it sometimes. It's just for the sake of it. Number five, there's this, they have this habit of what in America we call keeping up with the Joneses. So this phrase, keeping up with the Joneses, means that people who try so hard to be like their neighbors instead of trying to be like themselves. And what you find in Denmark, a lot of Danish girls, they try really to be like other Danish girls instead of trying to be themselves in terms of keeping up with the beauty standard. Because from what the Danish guys told me, the beauty standard is high in Denmark. And that, I think, can cause the Danish girls to kind of lose themselves to a point where they feel like they have to look like a supermodel. They have to look a certain way all the time. All the time. They have to be that way. They can't be themselves because they really have to fit in and really keep up with everything that the Danish standard dictates. And I think that can be detrimental to mental health sometimes.
Wow. I feel like you're holding back a bit on some various topics, so we'll take it over to Kick in a bit. I think we're.
You caught me.
Yeah. So, brothers, how about we have like a call-in show? So, brothers, if you want to call in now, because we're going to go over to Kick, and Sam can speak a bit more like, freely in regards to Denmark on Kick. So, I'm going to put the link here, right? Brothers, in the live stream chat. So, if you have any questions for our guests, call in, including you, Jessica. If you have a problem with Passport Bros, what we're doing, call in over here. So I just put a link in the live stream chat. Feel free to call in. Okay, hold on. Oh shoot, it's moving fast. Okay. Replace pin message. Perfect. All right, y'all. I'll put the link in the chat for you to call in if you have any questions for our guests. I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes, 5 minutes max. No callers. We're taking over to Kick. Okay, so remember, like I said, create your account on Kick. You should follow me on Kick. We're gonna go on Kick to speak more freely about Danish women, Danish culture, the dark side of Denmark. Right? We'll speak on that on Kick. But can I ask you, right? So, do you feel there's a lot of jealousy amongst the women in Denmark? They say they're feminist, they support women, but there's clearly some sort of like, there's a woman want to be better, other woman want to be the prettiest, the most desired. Did you see that over there, brother? Did you feel it over there?
Absolutely. And I've seen this in other Scandinavian countries as well. And I remember when I was in Sweden last year, I met this lovely Polish woman, and she basically explained to me like this: people in these countries are almost afraid to be themselves because they must conform to the society standards. And I think a lot of these folks lose themselves within these standards sometimes because they cannot be genuine and they cannot be themselves. And I think that's why they like to travel so much too, because they want to escape and they want to be around cultures that are more open, cultures that are more friendly, cultures that are more open to cold approach, being open to interacting with strangers, being open to making new friends. Because to make new friends in Denmark, it's very difficult. It's not easy.
Facts. It's like a very, very cold country, Denmark.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Brother, so how should Passport Bros tackle Denmark, particularly the woman part? Is it go out there and just be on your Genghis Khan stuff and go for a bunch of women? Don't try and find wifey. The women in Denmark are not to be taken seriously. Is that a fair statement?
As I said before, it depends what kind of brother you are. Now, if you are into progressive values, if you're into egalitarianism, if you're a male feminist, then maybe you might find wifey for sure. I mean, you'll have a lot in common with them. But if you are not a big supporter of these values, then you probably would find a hard time finding wifey over there. Because I mean, these people they take their values very seriously, and they cling to their values too.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great intel, bro. Um, Just John, can you turn your camera on in the background so I know you're not a troll? Yep, you're good. I know who you are. Okay, let me bring in Just John in the background. Okay, let's go. Okay, what's up, Just John? How you doing, bro?
Yo, what's good, IP?
I'm
Sam, how
good.
you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Appreciate that, man. I'm great. Man, I wanted to call in because I actually plan on going to Copenhagen next summer. So,
Hey.
I because I went to I went to Sweden because I actually so this year I went to or no, sorry, last winter I went to well not winter, but last year I went to Estonia and then I did my little roundabout through the through the Baltics. But I kind of got carried away because while I was in Estonia, I met a Finnish woman, and you know how it goes, man. You just kind of stray away.
Yeah.
So I begun straying away. So that's how I ended up in Helsinki. And then in Helsinki, I met a Swedish girl, and that kind of strayed me to Stockholm. So, and Stockholm just changed my life, man. Sam, I have to say you are absolutely right, man. Those women are stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, but I still think that like if you prefer the taller women, I would say Finland. Finland had it felt like every woman out there was 6 foot. I mean, insane, man. I would highly recommend that for you, man.
For sure. Yeah, Finland's probably next.
Yeah, that hookup culture out there is quite literally the same as Sweden. But
Yeah,
I'd say
these
like
countries, yeah, they behave very similar. Yeah.
yeah, man, but I got a couple questions here, right? So would I liked Sweden because I felt like the cold approach scene. Well, actually, I would call it warm approach because I feel like cold approach out there is not really as tolerated,
No.
in Scandinavia. But
Hmm.
I do realize like I got a couple choosing signals from baristas and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's more of a warm approach. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Can I ask, John? Can I ask what kind of chew signals did they give out there?
oh man, like if trust me, if a Swedish girl likes you, I was in this cafe near my hotel. I wasn't in Ostermalm. I was in Slusen.
Ah.
That's where I stayed in. Like my hotel was around that area, but it's super beautiful. I had a great view of the train system. And brother Sam, you know how clean the trains are, man. How beautiful it is. The infrastructure in Sweden is in a whole nother world, man.
Hmm.
Um, wait, what was the question, IP? My bad.
Oh yeah, so I think the kind of signals they give out to let them know they're interested.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I would say that the choosing signals are way more overt in Sweden than it is in Finland. Like in Finland, they'll do the little eye contact and look away. In Sweden, I've actually been approached. I have never had that happen in my 24 years in the United States.
Wow.
So super overt. You're at the club, you might even have a woman just walk up to you. I mean, it was definitely a good time.
Awesome. Fire away with your questions, John.
Right. So in terms of cost of living, how does it compare to Sweden? Because I know Sweden was a little expensive, but is Copenhagen more expensive or less, or how does it go?
Copenhagen is more expensive. I felt like in Stockholm I saved money compared to Copenhagen. And what you find is a lot of Danish people who go to like Sweden to buy alcohol because Malmo, the third largest city in Sweden, is right across the bridge from Copenhagen. So if you are in Copenhagen and if you want to go to Sweden, you could just hop on the train. Train goes right through the bridge and you're in Sweden. You're right in Malmo. So yeah, a lot of Danes and a lot of Norwegians go to Sweden like to buy alcohol and to buy other goods, and then they'll go back to their country because Norway and Denmark are really expensive compared to Sweden. Yeah. And Sweden's still expensive, but it's still on the cheaper side compared to these other Nordic countries. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Because at least from what I hear, I have a buddy who was in Sweden. I met him while I was out there, and the brother told me that, in his opinion, at least, or at least from what he's seen, Oslo seems to be the most expensive of them all.
Yeah. Yeah. Also,
So I mean that.
it's crazy expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I even met a Norwegian chick while I was doing my roundabouts at the club, and this was in Ostermalm. And bro, she was telling me that like a little studio flat for just something simple in the middle of Oslo could cost like $3,000 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Mhm.
Like, man, and like a cup of coffee out there was like $6 or something crazy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, John, one last question and we move over to another topic. Do you have any last questions before we drop you off?
Right, my bad. So, in terms of dating out there, right? Like once, let's just say because I'm not sure about how the culture really differs between that and Sweden, but I'm gonna assume for a minute here that they don't really care too much about complicated first dates, right?
No, no, very simple. You can just ask them for a coffee, ask them for a drink, or if you don't drink, you can maybe like get something to eat at a cafe. They'll be fine with it. You don't need to take them to any fancy dinners. And even if you do take them to a fancy dinner, they'll just pay for their half themselves. You won't be expected to pay for them. I
Thank
mean,
God,
people
man.
are very feminist. Yeah, like I'm telling you, they walk it like they talk it. They say they're feminists, they say they're independent, they'll pull out their credit card and they'll prove it to you. Yeah. But I'm just like, girl, you don't have to prove nothing to me. Just pay and be about your business. Like, come on.
Hey man, IP, I appreciate that, man, because you know how much of a struggle it is here, man. Over here, the first date, if you're not 6'8" the great, you're probably not even going to have a shot at talking with her. So, that's just my experience out here, man. But anyway, Sam, IP, take care, man. Thank you so much for the questions.
All right, take it easy, John. Awesome. Any callers before we go on to kick? Any callers? Now's the time. Okay. All right. So, Sam, let's go over to kick. Let's talk more about the dark side about Copenhagen that we can't discuss on YouTube. So, brothers, I'm gonna post a kick link in the live stream chat. Okay. We're gonna give you our 2 minutes for you guys to get yourself on kick over here. Okay. So here is a kick link in the chat. Okay. We will be ending the streams on all platforms and moving to kick. Okay. There's a kick link in the live stream chat and the direct live stream. I'll post that as well. Okay. This has been a classic live stream, and here's a kick link in the live stream chat. Okay. So kick after party up next. Okay. Sam, do you want to get some water or something like that? Brother, are you good?
I'll go use the restroom real quick. Now I'll be back.
Okay, brother. Take your time, bro. I'll be here. Shout out to Sam. Kick after party up next. Okay. So we're going over to kick. All right, in 2 minutes. The kick link is in the live stream chat. We're going to speak more about the dark side about Copenhagen. All right, kick after party up next. Let's get it. Let's get it cracking, man. Can't wait, cannot wait, cannot wait. Oof, should be an awesome stream. On kick. Type of 1 in the live stream chat if you're here with me. YouTube gang, head over to kick. Facebook gang, Rumble gang, Twitch gang. Move all over to kick, okay? We're gonna crash out and have an after party on kick. Okay? Should be a classic live stream. Who's here though? Type 1 in the chat. Charlie. Everyone hop on kick. Let me post the links again in the live stream chat. We're moving over to kick. Oh yes. Also, Turn your camera on in the background. Worldwide D's. Is that who I think you are? Yes, yes. Confirmed, bro. Confirmed. Awesome, bro. All right. So let me bring in Worldwide D's in the background. Okay. So everyone, make your Kick account. Moving over to Kick. Literally, I'm bringing Worldwide D's though. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, long time no talk. How you feeling? How y'all brothers doing, man? Talk to me.
I'm doing all right, brother. How you doing, bro? You good?
Bro, hey, I'm blessed, man. Bless, bless, bless.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Mr. Worldwide, thank you very much for calling in, brother. Brother, what do you have for us today, brother? I think you have a special announcement for us, right?
Yeah, before the announcement, great stream, bro. Great stream. It's so funny, right? So I'm going to Germany. I'm going to Hamburg. I'm throwing an event out there in October, and my return trip is actually in that area, the same city and everything for a whole day. So I'm gonna go crazy out there. Don't worry.
Awesome,
Um,
bro.
but yeah, I'm throwing an event. If any passport bros or anyone that want to travel, it's in October 17th. It's going down, bro. I got women from Berlin coming. I got one, bro. It's gonna be women galore. You already know how I get down, bro. So, if y'all need more info, just hit me up on the ground, worldwide underscore Des. Wait, is I'm allowed to do that?
Yeah, you can, bro.
Or the event page on Instagram at No Skips Live. It's gonna be crazy. Make sure y'all in the building. It's y'all chance to come to Germany, man. We can move around in the pack. You know what I mean? Bar to bar, whatever y'all trying to do. And hey, passport, bro, it's so crazy. I never even been to Hamburg before, bro. And
Can't
I'm
wait,
throwing a
man.
party out.
Let's get it. So, brothers, hit him up on his contacts. Also, reach out to me as well, brothers. If you can't find him, reach out to me. I will also put you in touch with Worldwide Des and have a great time there abroad. Appreciate you for that announcement there, Worldwide.
Thank you, bro. I'm out. Hey, have a good
Awesome,
one,
brothers.
bro.
All right, speak soon, bro. Catch up soon.
Peace.
Okay, all right, brothers. We're now moving over to Kick. Okay, so everyone hop on Kick right now. Okay, Kick after party up next. Okay, so everyone on Kick, move, move, move. All right, so I'm going to end the stream. Okay, on Facebook. Okay, there we go. I'm going to end the stream on Twitter. Okay. Twitch. I'm going to end the stream on let's see, on Rumble. Okay, and I am now going to end the stream on YouTube. So YouTube gang, I'll see you on Kick. Okay.